Hi everyone, I'm waiting for Amanda to join us. In the meantime, I'm going to go live because, oh wait, is Bella sitting behind me? Hi Amanda, where's Amanda? Okay. Bella never sits, it's always Muffin. So she really surprised me now. Hi, you just
Hi.
missed Bella sitting behind me. So Bella,
Oh,
Bella joined us while we were waiting for you. Okay, let me just move this. There we go. I'm glad you found me. So we had a little detour going via Zoom, but we are here now. And okay, I want to quickly fix my light. Here we go. Oh, darkness, my old front. Let me do this. Okay, better. Welcome, Amanda. Love. I'm happy to see you, and I'm excited about our topic because we are talking about optimal health, really. And part of it is being embracing our emotional health too. And
exactly.
all of yes, and all of this we are doing because we've got a new book coming out. It's called Trauma to Triumph. You're one of the co-authors. Your chapter is amazing. Um, you know, I I want to really commend you because from the summit and our conversation to the summit, what you've brought to the book is even more amazing. I love how you connected your insights about your childhood and what you internalized and how much influence it had on your own autoimmune disease, right?
Yeah.
Which is fibromyalgia.
Yeah,
Okay, so
it's quite a journey.
okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about the biggest feelings that you internalized while you were a child, and if you have to think about what is it that got stuck in you the most that you had to work with and release in order to get emotional health.
Yeah, the biggest yeah, when I was going through the trauma, my parents' divorce and everything, which I talk about in the chapter, I was internalizing, oh, it's my fault. I feel like, and I was dealing with a lot of like family, like my dad got remarried, and so it was a lot of like her pushing that it was our fault type of thing. And so I think I was just like, I didn't want to share what I was going through with anyone because I was like, I was scared. And I didn't know how to rationalize those feelings. So I was like, what do I do with those feelings? And it took a lot of years of just me just realizing, and it took like into my 20s. I'm turning 32 tomorrow, but just the realizing people, it's not your fault when people if you have members of your family who are telling you that and stuff, it's not your fault. It's something maybe they're dealing with personally too. And parents make mistakes, we all make mistakes, but it's letting go of, okay, I'm not going to hold on to those emotions. I'm not going to hold on to anything that's happened in the past. I'm not going to look to the past, but just to say, oh, I'm sharing my story, which I do, but I don't look to the past and say, oh, I wish my life was different and stuff. And that's the biggest thing. You can't look to your past.
Yeah, you're not doing a poor me thing.
No, I I don't play. I really tell people you can't play the victim. We all have like childhood trauma. I mean, our parents could have been great, but then we didn't learn like we didn't learn how to cope with the bad stuff as we got older, or we had most of the time I find people just have had, we weren't raised in good homes and stuff. It's parents divorced, whatever it is, and maybe they had some stuff and they didn't know how to raise us. So it's like we gotta take responsibility of where we are now and then decide, okay, let's move forward and not look back.
Okay, but now there's another thing which I think a lot of people go through. You say, I didn't have it that bad. Or there are other people who have it worse. And therefore, in a way, I'm not entitled to be that little girl, that little boy who were really hurting and who went through trauma, and it was real and true for that little boy, little girl. And we all internalize those things because we don't have adult tools, so we don't have no other way to look at it, and very often no other way, especially if we're younger than 7, than to blame ourselves as we are the cause of it, or we were not good enough, or it wouldn't have happened. But that thing that we do when we get a bit older and we go like, no, I shouldn't have problems. I shouldn't, other people have got worse problems like that. That's such a toxic thing. Did you also go through it?
Yeah, I think it was toxic in the sense that I think when I was from like 8 to like almost 14, we lived in California, and it was just a toxic environment because the courts got involved with my story that last year before we moved to Arizona. And it was also toxic in the fact that we were just getting lectured, my sister and I, for 2 to 3 hours every Sunday pretty much. And it was just toxic in the sense of, oh, okay, you guys need to change, you need to speak up. But then when we speak up, I was the one who was getting sent to the corner, and I was the one getting in trouble. And I've never got in trouble. I didn't get in trouble at school or anything. And I was a good kid. So for whatever reason, I would get in trouble at my dad's house, which didn't make sense. And just for speaking up my mind. And I think a lot of times we get told, oh, speak up, but then parents are like, well, you speak up, but then they don't want to actually hear what you're saying and stuff. And I think that's the biggest thing. When people talk, it's like you really have to listen to what they're saying and not put your opinion into it.
Did you lose confidence in your voice because you got in trouble?
I was very shy. I mean, I was shy. I was quiet. I didn't speak in school that much and stuff. I was very, it was more my sister. I was told, she was always outgoing and stuff, but then she got like super shy, and that's what my grandma has told me years later. But, for me, I think it did affect me, because now I'm looking back at it. I'm like, oh yeah, I was pretty quiet. And it's only taking me probably in the last like 2 years where I'm like, I'm just going to say what's on my mind. And it's hard sometimes to realize. It's like, oh, it's a growing in confidence type of thing, I think, with what you're doing in life and stuff. But it's like, oh, yeah, it did affect me. I think in your 20s, you're just trying to figure out what's going to happen in life and stuff too, also. So it's also that. And it's also a characteristic type of thing too. Like, I'm not like the most outgoing, but I'm not the shyest person either. So it's like in the middle for me. So I feel like doing things like sharing my story, which I've done like a lot in the last 2 years, I think that's where my confidence has grown the most.
Yeah, it is that it's normalizing it, isn't it? Like honestly, when we talked on the summit, you were not as forthcoming with your story. It's a journey. It takes us. I tried. I really tried.
Yeah,
okay. But it takes us some time to normalize. It's okay for us to tell our stories. Sometimes we listen to somebody else, and it's okay. Listen to them; they can do it, and we grow in confidence. And it's a non-stop thing. We grow where we were 6 months ago. I think we talked in February, March. So
yeah.
there's a constant growing. The minute when you start getting brave and you start finding your voice and you start sharing your story, It doesn't have a hold over you anymore.
Exactly. And I feel like even from like it's almost been a year since we did that interview, and I'm just like I've grown so much in confidence, and I've done so much just in that last year. And it's just normalizing my story and not telling the canned version, but telling the real deep version, like this event, which I enjoyed. And also I did another event where I also did not tell my canned story, which is getting down to the deep stuff, because a lot of times I find as I'm meeting new people, because I just moved to a new state in the last 6 months, is that we all are very surface level with our story, and it's very hard to find those people who want to like dig deep and actually tell their story.
Yeah, but I think we are normalizing it. I think once we understand, I mean, you know what, we don't tell a story because of shame. And shame is a thing that's toxic. So burying our voice and our wants and our needs and having shame and not enough self-love, that's what's toxic about it. And so the more we normalize it, that we can speak about our stories, we can say, I was devastated. I I I felt so alone. I felt so judged. When we can start saying those things, and then we can show people, I don't melt because I'm saying I was ashamed. I was ashamed of my father's drinking. I carried the rejection inside me. I thought I was deeply flawed until I was a grown ass woman of how many years before I realized, but I was never born flawed. It wasn't my shame. It was my adults who didn't know how to parent me better. Tough luck, you know. Work through it. Speak your soul story. Share it with others. Get some tools. Become brave. And then we get lucky, like me and you. We've got something we are passionate about, and because we're passionate about it, and we turn our own lives around, we learn something enormous. We get brave and we start speaking. And everybody can do that, because you're an introvert, I'm an introvert, and everybody can start doing it. Everybody can become willing to investigate their story and take with them what they want to.
Exactly. I feel like it's normalizing it. It's like
Mm.
we have to normalize we all have bad things, but everybody has something to share. And I think that's the biggest thing. Let's share your story, because you don't know who that person is who's going to hear your story and be like, "Oh, if they could do it, I could do it."
Yeah. Okay, so if we now go to autoimmune disease, which we are talking really about every single one, right? We're not just talking about fibromyalgia. We are talking about every single autoimmune disease out there, and quite a few other ones too, because the research has shown us heart disease, cancer, like literally high blood pressure,
Yeah.
like literally everything is linked to our emotional states and what we are carrying with us. Um, when you started working with that, with your own diagnosis,
Yeah.
and I know, I mean, it happened in your childhood, and it was a process, and you eventually got real help. But what was the time, the moment when you realized, I can't just look after my diet, I can't just um, exercise and do all that stuff. I actually have to get rid of my toxic thought system, my toxic belief system.
I feel like it was probably even a couple of years ago, I feel like. But I think I was pretty like positive through all that journey, but I was also exhausted too. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the thing was like I did change my food. I had some food sensitivities, a high sensitive gluten, eggs, dairy, and soy. And that was, oh my gosh, it'll be 12 years this year. But getting rid of that was important. But I think it was real, just like actually feeling better enough to actually start to live life again, I think. And then just realizing, okay, I gotta let go. And even a couple of years ago, I would say I was still struggling um, with just the even telling my story. I think that was the biggest thing. I remember telling a friend, and it was still hard for me to tell my story. But I think the biggest thing was just like telling my story constantly. I think is the biggest thing because like if you tell your story like 100, 200 times, I don't know how many times I've told my story, but it's been a lot. And it's like, I think that was like sort of healing for me to realize, okay, I could tell my story. I'm not going to break down, which I never did break down, but you could tell in my voice. Even a few episodes on my podcast that I did like last year, you could still tell the lady's like, I was talking about trauma, and she was like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, it could you could still hear it in your voice," and ma- I think that's the thing. There's still always something that might be you might need to work on a little bit, but honestly, I've gotten to this point with my story and my backstory where I'm like, I don't need to work on it anymore, and that's a big thing.
Yeah, there's a difference. There comes a day when your story don't define you anymore. But I will sometimes tell parts of my story, and I will let myself go back to when I was 7 years old, and I will willingly go through that hurt and trauma again, as if I'm 7 years old, and tell my story. And people will then hear it in my voice. But for me, as the adult self, and that will be because I do it on purpose, because I'm going
Yeah.
back to a place when I'm trying to remember my exact pain, my exact feelings, so that I can give it to the audience in a real way so they can understand it's okay to speak about this. But it doesn't define me anymore. But what I really want to talk to you about is I want to talk to you about letting go. Because letting go, I think it's really hard. So you had to let go of what? What are we talking about exactly?
I let go of, I guess I would say letting go of like the parents' divorce, letting go of like, I never understood why I was sick constantly. I was born 6 weeks early. I was sick like every 4 to 6 weeks. And then from 7 to 14, it was pretty much every week. And even all the way into my 20s and stuff, I was constantly sick. And it was just like, okay. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why I had to miss events and stuff. I was always playing catch up with school and stuff. So I didn't understand that. And I had this thought of, okay, my sister's well, and she's 2 years younger. And why am I, why am I going through this? Why am I sick? And I had to just let that go.
So you had to come to a place of deep acceptance. You had to accept this is how it is.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. You have to accept it, but that doesn't mean you can't change it. And I think that's the point is like a lot of people accept they have whatever health condition, but then what are you taking action to improve your health or prove your circumstance?
Yeah. Because accepting your story or accepting your history is not the same as I'm accepting that this is my future. I'm accepting that this is the label I'm supposed to carry. That's not the same thing. Accepting your story is it is how it is and it was how it was, but I don't have it anymore and I'm letting it go because it's dragging me down. It's holding me hostage. But when I accept that this is how it is, what do I do for myself going forward? What is it that I don't have? Where do I have to reparent myself? How can I love myself more? How can I accept myself more? And those those things. What about letting go of anger? What about letting go of disappointment?
Yeah, I think that was a big thing. I will. I think I probably had some anger and stuff, but I don't. I think the biggest thing was just letting go of disappointment because I'm one of those people where I'm like, I could get disappointed easily, and I've worked on that now. But I mean, like, you can't expect people to do things that they don't do. It's not in their character to do, and I've learned to accept that. Like, I expect, like, I didn't see my dad for a long time, and I only saw him a couple times, and I sort of expected it, like, once we moved to Arizona, but like I probably was still holding on to some hope or something. And I have family members where it's like you want them to do a certain thing, but it's just not going to happen. It's not in their character, and it's in your character to do it. So, I mean, like, sometimes you just have to accept that you might not be as close to those people.
Yeah. And when you change your expectations, when you let go of what you're dragging with, and when you change your expectations, then you can find a new way of being with what you've accepted instead of a wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking, and it's also, it takes a lot out of you to want to change someone else and stuff, and you have to just let it go.
Now, where are you now today with fibromyalgia?
Oh, that's a good question. So so I was diagnosed back in 2010, so 11 years ago. It'll be 12 years this year, but I don't I don't have anything with my fibromyalgia anymore. I don't have the pain, I don't have the fatigue, I don't have the sleep issues. If I have sleep issues, it's just because I have too many ideas going through my mind. That's probably what's the big thing. Um, I think the biggest thing with the fibromyalgia is, like, it doesn't stop me from living my life. I do everything I'm supposed to do. And I think that's the biggest thing with whatever health condition you're dealing with. Yeah, you might have that health condition and you might have to change your ways and stuff, but it doesn't have to define you. And that's the biggest thing I tell people. Like, I don't let fibromyalgia define me. Like, everybody, like, I've been here for 6 months and everybody knows, like, that I've had fibromyalgia. They know that, but, like, because I tell my story, but it's not like it defines me. It's not my personality. It's not who I am as a person. I mean, it did shape me a lot. I feel like it did shape me to being more just, I'm very compassionate about other people and stuff, and empathetic and everything. If someone's dealing with a health condition, I know that it probably shaped me. But, like, it's not like something I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell people about, and that's the first thing I'm going to tell people about. But once they know me and learn about me, it's fine. But I just feel like in life you need to have to know that you're like, okay, I have anything in life, health condition, I've gone through trauma, I've gone through all these issues, and it's like, well, yeah, you have that, but how are you helping other people?
And then not to attach to the label, not to say I am fibromyalgia or whatever it is. I had to learn not to talk about my migraine. I'm having a migraine. I am not my migraine. I am not a migraine. I think another very big problem is that a lot of people don't understand, because when you have any of these silent diseases, misunderstood diseases, or labels, or syndromes, or whatever you want to call it, then conditions, then a lot of times people can't see there's something wrong with you. Yeah. Especially all of these, it makes you so extremely tired. Okay, so now after COVID, everybody knows what it means to be extremely tired. It's now a new normal abnormal. But I've had adrenal burnout for years, and I still have a thyroid cyst. If you look really carefully, you can actually see it. But so functioning on half a thyroid. But if you don't know it, if you don't know that somebody else is going through something, you could very easily, and sometimes we ourselves don't even know what we are going through. We just know we are not really functioning very
Yeah.
well. You are doing nutrition now. That's what you're focusing on. Okay.
Yeah.
How often, and I know we are going away from the mental thing, but nutrition is, I mean, it's what we eat. We do every single day. We have to do this. We have to do food in order to stay alive. You know, it's a very big part of our lives. So, and I became drastically better when I cut out everything, which ridiculous things. I can't have tomatoes and I love tomatoes. Ridiculous things that I never saw coming. And since I've cut them out, my life is 1,000 times better. And since I'm eating in a way that suits me better, I have energy and I actually function so much better. So what do you do? What do you say to people when they come to you with any kind of strange, I'm not quite okay, something is wrong, I don't quite know what it is, or they have some sort of diagnosis? What do you do with the nutrition?
I say cut out the gluten, cut out the dairy, cut out the soy, sugar. Sugar's like in everything. And I feel like, I think a lot of people are like, well, I did cut out the gluten. And I'm like, well, one piece of gluten, a little molecule can stay in your body for up to weeks, up to months. And I think that's the thing. Gluten is being pushed so hard right now across the world. And like 10 years ago, when I first had to do it, and I had to get rid of it, it wasn't like talked about. I didn't know what gluten was. I was like, what is that? Okay, do elimination diet. I'm like, okay, what is that? And I did that for like 4 weeks. But I mean, people need to do it and stick with it. I think a lot of times we do one thing, maybe it's cutting out the gluten, maybe it's cutting out the dairy. But if you really are at the breaking point, you might try all at once. And I think that's the big thing. Like I'm not saying you're going to have to do those for the rest of your life, or you might have to. It's like, I think we feel like we need to do one thing and that's going to fix us. And I say multiple steps. And I think where we are with our bodies changes. Like, I feel like sometimes I feel like people think, oh, because it worked for my friend, it's going to work for me. Well, are you at the same stage as your friend? Are you going through the same stuff? We have different lifestyles. Everybody has different lifestyles. Everybody is at different stages. Like my sister's pregnant right now. So like what she needs for her body is different from my body. And like, that's the thing. So, I mean, what a guy needs, what a woman needs for hormones and stuff is different than and stuff. So it's not just one thing that's gonna do it.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that ask me, like, I've got friends coming, what should I give them? They are gluten intolerant. And for me, it's not even about gluten intolerant anymore. It's about finding stuff which is real. Because I'm staying away from gluten. It's not even worth it. There's no slice of cake in this world that is worth it. Not one. Because it just, like you say, it stays in your body for a while. And the little cheats and the little cheats and the little cheats, they all add up into feeling miserable all the time. So it's a lifestyle to rather embrace fresh food, real food, nothing out of boxes. Stay away from the fast food. Sorry, no fast food, because you honestly cannot do fast food. There's nothing in fast food that I mean, there's just very few fast foods that you can actually go to and it's healthy and it's good for you. If you know where it's coming from, you know it's mama, you know it's daddy, you can see what it is, you can identify it, you can probably eat it. But you have to be willing to immerse yourself in it, because that little bit of cheating doesn't mean that you are cutting out gluten. It just means you keep it, or gluten, or whatever it is. For me, I can't have preservatives. I can't have colorants. So, and there are various reasons for a lot of people to do this. People with ADD shouldn't have colorants and sugar and preservatives, because it makes their brain work more sluggish. So there are various people for various reasons. But we as a society have gone to fast food and easy food and convenience food, and instead of making real food, we've lost the art and the joy of making real food. And when you go back to discovering real food, the stuff that comes in boxes don't add up anymore. It just doesn't taste the same. It's
It
not so hard.
it really doesn't taste the same, and you could tell once you eat like real food, like fruits, vegetables, meats. It's like when you are like tired and you're like, oh, I'm going to try something different from a box or something. It doesn't taste as good.
No, and,
It's,
and, and these weeks of agony that comes after it. So, yeah. So, all right. So, our message really is take care of your emotional stuff. Don't carry any toxins with you inside you, your outlook, your old hurts, your old anger. Don't carry it with you, because it's bad for your body. It's been researched over and over now that the connections are shown between health, our heart problems, our happiness, our relationships. Every single thing depends on how much old stuff we carry with us. Let go. Yeah, let go of anger, let go. Find ways in which to do it meaningfully. Don't ignore it. Find a way which to do it meaningfully. Then look at what you're putting in your body. Look at what you are eating. I think we can add one thing: have fun, have joy in your life, have connection with people. Don't stop hiding from people. Okay, people don't really bite. It's always the same. And go out and be in the world, so that you can come from your own personal traumas, no matter whether big or small. When you were small, every trauma is big, and you can go to triumph, because all of us had to work through it. I want to ask our audience, if you know of anybody who has any of these kind of challenges, please share with them. And if anybody here has has a problem like that and want to ask a question, please go ahead and type it for us in the comments. We'll answer you. And there's a few hearts there. Give us a few more, okay? You know how I always want the hearts, eh? And say hi to Amanda. That would be nice. Luckily, I can see I can see there's people watching. That's nice. I love it when our audience are here. I love it when the audience connects with us and they tell us if they've gone through similar things or if they have any questions. So while I'm waiting to see if our audience have any questions, Amanda, your parting thoughts on going from trauma to triumph.
I think the biggest thing is trauma to triumph. Don't let it define you. I think you don't have to make it your job to share your story, but share it at least with one person and have fun telling your story. It might be hard at first, but have fun. I think a lot of times we focus on the mental aspect and we focus on the food, but we also need to have fun in this life.
I love what you're saying. The first time when you tell your story, it's hard. No jokes, not going to lie to you. The first time is hard,
Yeah.
but it becomes easier and easier and easier. Okay, now I need to know who is Facebook user, because I don't know who is Facebook user. So tell me who you are, please, please, please. Okay, you can give StreamYard permission to use your name. Okay, so somebody said hi, Amanda. Okay,
Hi.
right. And let me see, are you going to tell us who you are? Oh, I'll hang on a minute here. Love it when people put comments in. You've got a podcast. The name of your podcast is?
Fibromyalgia, Real Solutions with Amanda Love.
Oh, I thought it changed to something about nutrition.
I might be changing it. It might be cooking with a man of love. I haven't quite decided.
I always wanted a cooking school, a cooking show.
Well, I just took a culinary
Hi, Mitch.
course.
Nice to see you. I don't know why StreamYard not recognizing you tonight. Normally it does. Very nice to see you. Okay. Um, if you ever have a cooking show, I want you to invite me.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Nice to see you. Okay. Okay, guys. Please remember to share. Not everybody knows this. You know, we talk about this a lot. We go down this road a lot. But it's shocking how few people actually know the connection between body and mind, and that we can all start taking a very active part in our health and well-being. And really important, both goes together. When, like you said, when your health is not optimal, it's really hard to address the insides, our subconscious belief system. But once you start paying attention to both become better, don't you think?
Yeah, I feel like you could at least focus on one, and then the other will catch
Yeah,
up.
yeah. There we go. Hi, Tracy. Okay, great, amazing. Anybody else who wants to comment, please carry on. I'll go back in. I'm sure Amanda will go back in and share with everybody. Give us more hearts. We love our hearts. Thank you all for coming. Amanda, thank you all thank you so much. I'm very excited. Our book is coming out the end of this month. Really
Yeah, I'm so
exciting.
excited.
Yes, I'm gonna share the link. I don't know, the link is in the description, so the link's there already. You can go and look at our book. Number one, new release. Like, amazing. It's in quite a few categories, not just one category, in quite a few categories, but just showing one at a time. So it's quite exciting. Very
That's so
excited about it.
exciting.
Yeah. Awesome book with a real actionable help, tips, people's stories. And so I want everybody to get it. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And much love to you. Much love to our audience. You know, I love doing this, talking to all of you. And oh, wait, I need to go and search for my song. Why is this every week I have to go search for my song? And nothing is in the right place this week. So I don't even know I don't even know if I'm going to find the right one. I'm going to try. I hope it says the right thing, because nothing's in the right place this week. I'm going to play my song now, and we see you next week at the same time. Right. Thanks for coming.
Thank
Lots of
you.
love.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. It's not my song, but I'm not singing.